And like Ashley, he's been experimenting with new things, and all of us all the time are experimenting with new things. It's how we keep sane, and it's how we learn to adapt to market patterns. I used to have a strategy, everybody used to have a London breakout strategy in the 2008 to 2014, and it really was quite easy making money. And then it stopped working, boo-hoo, that was M1, so we had to go back to plan A. And for me, throughout all of this, M2 has been plan A, and it is my rock for everything. And the way I have diversified, as you know, is to go into stocks, crypto, metals, etc. Pierre's experimenting with the stock market, well, trading DAXI, and Ashley has now created a new course. He's just spent the last 12 months experimenting with everything, and he's looked at my M2 and he uses that some of the time. He uses Earth and Sky some of the time and combines it. For him, he prefers it when he combines it with M2. And then in the background, I've been sitting with him periodically where he's been looking at loads of things, loads of different ideas from other traders online to ultimately come up with something that works for him. He's been testing it now for 6 months on live accounts, and so it's getting more and more confident with it. And the advantage is for those of you who prefer to trade more, you like to trade, then between Earth and Sky and what Ashley's doing now, you will have lots of opportunities. And the other thing with opportunities, you have the periods of time when M2 is easy. I can go months and months and months and make money like falling off a log. And then since December the 15th, when we told you, don't trade. We don't trade. None of us here trade over the holidays because the market's sluggish. Most of the participants are missing. And apart from Trump, there's not a right lot of news. Now, of course, Trump's gone nuts again. And now Greenland is really throwing a cat amongst the pigeons, which has caused movement this morning. But for me, I have made a lot of money on stocks and gold and silver that I shared with you on the 4th of January. And so as of today, and I don't know if any of you took advantage of what I was talking about, my silver is up another 34% since the 4th of January. And my gold is up 10% for gold. And the stocks account I shared with you, the one I'm managing for a friend of mine in his tax-free account, was up 91% yesterday. But it's up 16% since I shared it with you on the 4th of January, and as his new one. So 16%, excuse me, is more than the S&P made last year. And that has been done in 16 days. It's on top of the massive gains I made last year. If you want to go back through and look at things and check that I'm not BSing and it's all true, go into my investing blog, and it's the second one here, and have a look back, and you will find this was the post from the 4th of January. And I shared with you an update from my investing group. I've had folks in the investing group have made more money in this year than this year just gone than they'd ever made in stocks. And that account for Andy that I shared with you, he's made more with me in 1 year than the previous 20 using an ISA that a bank had provided. So last year we made 138% stocks. I say we're up 16% as of today. Gold we made 65, up another 10, and silver up 153, and we've made another 34. And this was the post. And here I was sharing with you the account of my mate. Somebody was asking me about this. The minimum I can manage money for people, and I am not a licensed financial advisor, and managing money is actually the wrong phrase. The minimum I can help you to educate you to manage your money is 200,000, because I realized doing this that there's as much work doing it on 20 as there is on a million, and I only have two pairs of hands. Now, one pair of hands, I feel like I need two pairs of hands. Anyway, this was the update on the 4th of January. I managed to grow his 20,000 account to 32,319 altogether. This figure here is just the profit on current open trades. That was that figure. So this figure at the time, I've forgotten now what it was, but so just remember these numbers, 32,319, and then the other account, I rebalanced and restarted it all again in mid-December. So that's been going a month now, was at 21.7. And as of today, drum roll, The main account, the ISA account, is at 37,608. So put 20,000 in and it's now at 37,608, which by my calculation, I think it was at 91% yesterday. I think it's at 80 something today, 85%. So we have 17,603 divided by 20,000 is 88% in 9 months. So this is why we keep saying, morning Tobias, you're late, naughty corner again. And Grant as well, naughty corner. Private students, you should be there first with your pencil ready. Um, so again, the last month, guess what I've been focusing on? I've been focusing on stocks and helping people to build portfolios and making money. Now, today, things have started to liven up. And they started to liven up. Well, I wasn't sure. Ashley said, hey, I don't know what's gone on, but he was in a really good trade and it's come back and taken him out of entry. And the other thing now, I am using GPT for everything. I am looking for a car at the moment, and I've spent so much time on multiple sites looking for a specific type of car. And I just asked ChatGPT the other day, and it gave them all, and it listed, and it gave me, oh, it's brilliant. So this morning I said, well, I know that the Eurozone and everything else that's going on. Why have we had this sudden move? Ask ChatGPT. Now, the other thing, we have Pierre with us this morning, and Pierre is very much of a mind that technical analysis leads fundamental analysis. And I agree with him some of the time. And I also said over the holiday period, and I said on Sunday in my analysis, until or unless the 78.6 fib breaks, I am still of a mind that this is going. I said, well, even if the dollar had set off, I would expect it to stop at the 200 and definitely stop at 100. But I said to you on Sunday, just be very careful thinking that we've now had a break. And I also showed you we've got gold and silver to keep moving them up and up and up. I said it for the euro, that the euro had broken just 78.6 fib on Friday of last week. But I said, you know what? I'm not buying into this yet. Let's wait and see what happens with Trump. And again, we've had MACD divergence going on. Technical clues that I shared with you over the holidays were clues that the price was going to at least pull back on lots of these as well as. And again, the pound 61.8 had not broken. AUD, well, I shared with you the AUD. The thing with the AUD, why I've left this alone for 6 weeks, it's just stuck in here. And you don't want to trade anything if it's stuck in here because that is a limited range of 40 odd pips. Not interested. Took a 12, 13 pips off this. I mean, this is the use of time, the best use of time. I took a trade on the New Zealand dollar last week. Woohoo! I had a winning week. Woohoo! I made 13 pips. I made thousands on my stocks. So just be mindful. And final thing before I hand you over to Ashley, he's going to go through in detail his new strategy and explain the new course and what he's going to be doing and how he's going to do it. Somebody asked me about my pound Aussie dollar. The thing is, we don't really know what's going to happen today until New York opens. The fact that the euro is going up because Trump wants to invade Greenland really is a bit of a nonsense because the only thing the Eurozone's achieved in the last 10 years is that they now have, and it's annoying as hell, that on a plastic bottle, water bottle, when you open it, you can't detach the lid. I think that's about it. Everything else that they've done is all about regulation and clamping down on things. And they've sent between the Europeans so far, they've sent 20 to 30 soldiers to stop Trump, which just about sums up the futility and the stupidity. Anyhow, technical analysis leading the way. This is why we don't dive in. This is why I haven't wasted the last month on Forex. But today, it could be the start of something good. What does Pierre say? Pierre says, if you're going to start taking photos with fast cars, I will fire you. Yep, I had another go the other weekend. I was driving a Porsche around the Formula One track in Portugal again. It's an expensive, time-consuming hobby, but boy, is it fun. And Grant said, one needs money to make money, Mark, even if it's someone else's. Well, that's the thing we spoke about, Grant, the advantage, and Pierre's doing it at the moment, testing. Ashley's been using funded for testing as well as trading real money. Well, for him, real money. in the old days, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. In the old days, most of us, Pierre, me, 20 odd years ago, we would start with $1,000 in an account. And as a result of which, if you only risk half or 1% per trade, you might have a really good month and make $50, $60. So what we all did was we would over leverage, over trade, risk too much and blow an account up. And then we would put more money in and we would start again. And so although I was against these funded accounts for years, they do have a place both from an educational point of view, getting used to the discipline and the structure, but also the chance to use other people's money to make money. And if you go back to Robert Kiyosaki's book before he lost the plot, Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was all about using other people's money. And in the old days, I used to use a lot of other people's money to buy property because in the UK 25 years ago, you could buy property cheap and money was cheap, and you used other people's money to make it. So thinking along those lines all the time. But just, when we're telling you stuff and we're explaining why we're doing it and sit on your hands and don't do it, we tell you for a reason. And the reason has been proven again. So we seem to know a little about what we're on about. Uh, Tobias says we're focusing on Greenland. He lives a bit near just Tobias. He lives in Sweden. Listen, it's that flipping cold. You think they'd give it away. Uh, I'm going to join the investing group soon, says Julian. Just one second, Julian. I'm going to put the bank on warning. Julian is going to spend some money. Yes, he's going to send it over soon. Only kidding, Julian. If you're going to start taking investor trade with the demo account first three, yeah, Grant. When you're learning, just trade on the demo, and then we'll get you to a funded within a short space of time. What's the next message? Another rude one. Looking to speak more with you during our first Western one on Thursday. Righty ho. So without further ado, I said to Ashley I'll be there for 5 minutes. My alarm's just gone off. My 16-hour fast has just finished because I'm now going to go raid the fridge and I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of
Yeah.
Ashley. So
Y-
over to you, Ashley.
Yeah, you've been quite accurate, Mark, about the posts that you did a few days ago. One more day, and
What
it's been quite the volume has kicked in after Martin Luther King Day, which is Tuesday today. So
what
you've been
what
spookily accurate as well.
What have I said to you? Well, I said he put something on something the other day about, oh, Mark was quite accurate last year. And I said, Ashley, we've got to learn to shout about it. These results are insane. I outperformed the S&P by 9%. And Ashley said, he did quite well last year. So we're trying to teach him to be a little bit more outgoing and marketing focused, as in these results were off the charts. They were insane. And if you ever make anything like that, I will hire you to look after my money. Right. Julian says his wallet's just exploded at the thought of having to pay me money. There's people in here who've been lifetime members since 2012, not spent a bean since. But we don't care. We like to give value. All right, guys, I'm going to hand you over to Ashley. Leave you to it. Bye.
All right, thank you, Mark. You can invade the fridge now. While you are here, you guys are with me for the next 50 minutes or so. So first thing we are going to go through is the M2. Then I will show you some Earth and Sky, and then we'll go through some news. And then also the last thing I'm going to show you is the strategy that I've come up with, and I will go through where you can find it and just give you a little intro about it. So let's get started. And let me share my screen. Can you all see TradingView?
Yes.
Just give me it. Okay, thank you, Mark. Right, so dollar index, we have been banging on about this for months and months and said to you that we have all these AMAs in the way over here. So there's a likelihood of the dollar index heading towards the downside more than the upside. And that is exactly what has happened. This is the weekly time frame. So it's not quite come yet to the weekly 55, but we did react on the daily 200. So just about over there. But you can see that this is quite messy. You wouldn't want to trade the dollar index if it ever comes around in here, because you want this to clear out properly either to the upside or to the downside, which is what it is doing at the moment. So onto the charts. Euro USD I did say this one was a good level on the 4 hour. I think that was last week, and I was waiting for the pullback. But with this new strategy that I'm going to show you, you will see when you watch it, which is why I prefer waiting for confirmation. And I was able to avoid these kind of trades last year. So usually I would have jumped in before and put the forward order over here and put my stop loss there because that looks really good. It has broken below the EMAs, it has done the pullback and is going down. And then if you had missed it, you could have just waited for it to come back again. And today is the day after Martin Luther King Day, and Mark did say the volume is going to kick in, and you have the World Economic Forum. I think that is why it has gone up because I was trying to see what has happened in the news, and this is also the reason why I got taken out on my New Zealand Swissy trade, which I had taken on a confirmation yesterday, and it was going really well. I was around 1 to 1 on that trade on all my accounts that I took it on, and then Trump and all these other news that was happening in the background, the Swissy basically strengthened, and then that also affected the New Zealand Swissy, and it all came down and taking me out at break even. I had moved the stops, so that was a good thing that I did to protect the trade. But I'll go through that in a minute. So the Euro USD looks like it wants to go to the upside, and I will still give it some time because I would prefer then for the daily candle close to close above these EMAs over here for me to have a proper confirmation to know that exactly what is happening. So that would be then lower high, lower lows, and then a high high. So then you would wait for the pullback for the price to come around these EMAs and then wait for the confirmation uh, to basically take along to the upside. Dollar Swissy was the same thing. So this is why I said correlation is important. You would not take these two trades at the same time. Let's say you just take this short here and the long in here, you would have lost both these trades because, as you know, correlation, Euro USD and USD Swissy are going in the opposite direction at the same time. So that's basically two losses avoided for this year so far. Pound USD was never liking it. It just stuck at the 55 there, glued to it, and then there was a gap at the open, and then it's gone back up again. But I just never saw a setup on it, even on the 4 hour. I mean, you can look at this here, it's just very messy. So I just prefer to leave it alone for now. Dollar yen, it's still consolidating around in here. So leaving that alone as well. It's approaching that level of 160. It's not far off from the highs. We are around 380 pips, but the intervention can come in at any time. They're not going to tell you about it. I've seen it happen in all the sessions really, and it was around in here. I've seen it happen in here, here, here. So I've been trading all these years when the intervention has happened. So they can do it in any session. So I would just be careful trading the yens at the moment. For me, what I would prefer would be to wait for this trend reversal and then take it to the downside, because I do think that the yen is going to get stronger this year and in the coming months because they are looking to do things in the background and also raise the interest rates to basically strengthen yen because they can't afford to keep it this high for too long. So dollar CAD, this one again, quite accurate. So I did say I don't trust this breakout just yet over here because what I've seen in the past nearly 6 years is whenever you have a really strong bullish momentum or even it to the downside, but something similar like this, you have a lot of bullish candles here, price breaks out, yes, that's fine, but then I would prefer in a long for it to at least retrace about 50% of the move. So as you can see there, they did the fake out and then it has basically come back down again. And also Mark mentioned in his weekly analysis, he would have preferred this to close above this high. and then he will have preferred to take the long. So another loss avoided for the start of the year, and we have been quite accurate so far. So if this comes around the 50% fib, maybe you could look to take a long because it has done a new high, but on the 4 hour it is bearish, and there's nothing actually here to take it for a long. So I would leave that alone for now. If it closes here and then does the pullback, then it has made a new low and then is making a lower high to take it to the downside. So that will be quite a nice trade. Let me just delete this Fibonacci for a second because I don't think it's valid for now. AUD USD stuck in between these EMAs, so would not take it. Needs to clearly break above this high over here for me to even think about a long. And the short, I did show you this head and shoulder, but then I would not prefer it because of this daily 55. So you have a likelihood of the price just stopping around 30 pips into profit. So I would leave that one alone. The New Zealand USD was looking good, but probably not anymore. If I was going to look to take a trade in here, I would wait for the breakout of these EMAs and then look to take a long towards the upside, because then we have a lot of fresh room. The potential is about 230 in the long term. It's a very slow pair, so don't expect it to just shoot right back up over there. I would look over here around 140 pips first as your take profit target. Well, I would probably close it down in here because by the time it reaches here, I don't think I will even hold it for that long. I mean, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, almost more than a week for it to get up here. I think the longest trade I've holded is about 3 weeks. And that too, I was a bit disappointed at the end of it because it only did about 80 pips. And I went through so many emotions in that trade. And yeah, I was a bit disappointed. But anyway, so just always look at what the daily average is when you're taking a pair as a trade, just because you'll have an idea how fast the pair is moving. The pound Aussie, no, not interested. I rather put an order on the Euro Aussie, which I'll show you in a minute. Actually, let's go through that now. So I put the forward order. I missed it by a few pips this morning, but let's see what it does. It's done 134 pips more than the daily average. So it's about 92 is the daily average, and it's done 134. I've put the entry just below the 50% and the weekly 55, that is, and my stop loss is about 50 odd pips. 50 pips to make 160 pips. And Mark missed this one last week over here. I did not have it, but this one I was looking at it this week when I looked at it on Mark's charts last week. So I do like this one, very classic empty trade, and that has a very good risk reward to make a lot of pips this week. So interested in that one. And the entry I forgot to show you is 174.5, 40, I think that is over there. 5, yeah, 540. New Zealand CAD. So New Zealand CAD, you have the potential to take the short up here, although that would be a counter trend trade. So I would not prefer that. What I would prefer is a long because this has made a new higher high. So then I would like this to pull back and come again at 0.80, which is the round number. You have the 55 crossing the 200, and then you also have the daily 55, 78.6. Basically, about five to six reasons in here to take the long. So you could take the long there, 24 pip stop to make about 80 odd pips. You could also go conservative and put a 35 pip stop to then take it back up. So you're still hitting your 1 to 2 risk reward and just above over there. So that one looks attractive. AUD CAD is the one I was trying to combine it with the other strategy, but you have this level of support and resistance there, and then you have the daily 55 going in at the 78.65, and then you have the round number 0.92. So it's very similar to the New Zealand CAD. It's just which one do you prefer? And it's about the same amount of risk reward over there. And if you want to hold it, you can even go about 135 pips on that one. So both very similar trades. Choose one out of them because they are similar. Euro New Zealand. I'm going to show you this one on the trading view charts. This was the head and shoulder pattern. It's quite hard to see what I'm trying to show you over here. And this is the New Zealand Swissy that I had taken this morning, which I shared in the forum yesterday on a confirmation. It was somewhere around in here on the 1 hour, which I'll come to in a minute. So let me show you the Euro Aussie Earth and Sky pair. So this one is a bit weird because on Pierre's screen it was meeting all the rules and it was showing 56, but on my broker it is showing 47, and it's showing the red lights, which is fine. But for me, if I was looking at this, I wouldn't have put this as a pair on the list because it needs to at least meet around 50 odd pips. So it must be the broker that Pierre is using it. That's why he's found this as a pair that meets all the rules. But what I do like about this, although it's not showing on my charts that it's meeting the rules, it is for me lining up with the M2 trade that I have over here. And as you can see, I have my entry down in here and it's the same pair that has come out of the sky. So I have a bit more confidence in this trade because it's basically lining up with two strategies. So I would be really focusing on this trade for the week to catch it and to manage that trade. Right. What I didn't show you was the calendar. So we went through MLK Day yesterday. Just keep in mind the World Economic Forum is going on for the next few days. So Trump will be speaking in those meetings, and also you will have other bankers and other members speaking in there. So high profile people speaking that could make changes to the economy. So there could be a lot of volatility this week. And you have a lot of speeches there, as you can see. And in terms of news, Trump is speaking there. He already spoke earlier on about Greenland that has caused me to get taken out on my break-even trade, which was going really well. But oh well, that happens. Then you have this Aussie employment change on Thursday, and then your final GDP. So that usually causes some volatility in the markets. And then on Friday, which is something I don't usually trade, I hardly open a trade on Friday, but if I find a way that it's going to hit that take profit target in that day within few hours, then I will do it. But if I've already had a winning trade, then I won't usually do it. But you have the Bank of Japan speaking in there, so they have a chance to strengthen their currency, but it looks like they're going to keep the rate the same. So it all depends on what they say in the policy and what the Bank of Japan members say. Um, they can try to, I mean, they've been saying a lot they're going to intervene, but they have not done that. And also, they tried that previously, but it did not work. And then you also have the flash manufacturing PMIs for all these major countries. Right, any questions? Hi, on teacher. I'm good, well. How are you? And Alexi from Japan. Alexi, Ashley. So, how important are round numbers when choosing an entry point? In your experience, would you prioritize round number as an entry point over other technical indicators like fib levels or moving averages? Uh, no, I wouldn't prioritize a round number over other technical indicators. It's about what I usually do is I combine them all together. So I would not for example, just rely on a fib. I would not just rely on an EMA. I would prefer for it to have some other reasons in there, which is why we say have at least five reasons. So you can combine the round number, for example, with a Fibonacci. If there were like a couple of EMAs in there, a weekly 55 on a daily 200, for example, and then the round number comes in there as an example, I think it's the New Zealand CAD. So as like I was showing you in here, the round number 0.80, yes, it's quite a big one because it's a 0.80. It's like a round number and it's better than having 0.81, if you get what I mean. So I'm not going to just take the trade just based on that, but you can see that I have 78.6 fib and I have all these other EMAs. So for me, 0.80 is one reason. And I have the 4R 55 2, 3, 78.6 fib, daily 55, 4, and then the 4-hour 200 moving average 5. So using all of those together, and also if you look, you can probably see there's some support, sort of support and resistance going on in here. Then that's around six reasons for me there to take the trade. So no, I don't look at just the round numbers and I don't favor them over the other ones. I'll just try to combine them all together and look at the trade if it is quite strong enough or not. I hope that answers your question, Alexi. Sorry, yes, that's what I meant when they all come together. Yeah, so just try to combine them all together. There's no favor over round numbers over other things, as long as you can combine them all together. So this new strategy I've been working on, I've been working on this for over a year, and I started my trading journey in 2020. So I've been watching a lot of traders on YouTube, and I've done everything all the rookie traders have been doing, trying to learn from different people, and then trying to make it work. And I found different things that I like from different traders, and I've done quite a few courses as well. So I took bits from everywhere, and basically I've come up with my own strategy, and that works for me. And the last 6 months I have been doing this using my own money and using it on funded accounts and testing this live because I wanted to have a real feel for it when I was going to roll this out to you guys to help you guys out for the day trading bit. So you can view this course in here, and I'm not done with it just yet. I've got a couple of more units to go, and so far I've just put it out there because I have enough content in there which you can go through. So firstly, sorry, if you want to find it, this is the home page. Let it load. And if you go to the education section, and then if you go on day trading systems, you'll find Ashley's day trading strategy in there along with the M3. Now that's the thing, right? So you had M3. I don't know if members remember the long-term members will remember M3 was a strategy that Mark came up with during the COVID time because you had a period where these uh, there was like a range going on and the price would break out. And basically we combined M2 and Earth and Sky together. So it was the weekly pivots, and you kind of had like this one in a million time strategy kind of thing where if the weekly pivot and the monthly pivot came closer together, yeah, it would act as a strong level of support and resistance. So we would use the 30-minute entry signal on PS strategy to then you wait for the signal for it to break, give us a signal, and then we would take it on the candle. But there were a bit more things to it, but that has stopped after COVID. I think after a year or two, it stopped happening, just like how Mark had the London breakout strategy. That was working for a few good years, and then that stopped working as well. And now with this one that um, I have basically learned price action, how to do trading without any indicators on. And then I also combined it with M2 in the end, which I'm yet to upload the post on, which I'm editing at the moment. So it's going to be out soon, but you have enough stuff to go through over here. I have put the rules in, so you don't have to go through all the videos and be like, oh, I needed this as a rule. I have put them all there for you. So it's quite clear. And one of the main things with this strategy is that when you have the trade, the only time you can enter the trade is in London or New York. And that's because those are the most traded sessions in the world and they have the most volume. So it might not work for everyone. I've not tried using forward orders on it because I was watching the charts in London and New York. I had the time. I didn't try the forward orders because I don't know how effective it is. But obviously, when you watch this, you can have a go at it and see if that can be something that works for you. So, everyone comes up with their own strategy. Pierre did. He, learned from Mark and he came up with his own strategy. I've now come up with my own strategy. And maybe when you watch this, I might be one of the guys that you watch from numerous people, and then you might learn all these new things, and then you might find something that works for you. So, um, take your time through it, make some notes, and, go through the course. It's all in here. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to show you the New Zealand Swiss trade. So it would have been a really nice example to show you in this webinar where I was introducing the course. But basically, what happened is I took it, I have the arrow in here. So that is where I took it. And you can see that the trade, this was yesterday in the London session. So you will have times when the trade goes straight into profit, like the next candle, it will start building up the momentum. And then you'll have times when the trade will retrace a little bit, go into drawdown maybe, and then go into profit. So you gotta hold a trade and hold a trade idea that why you got into the trade in the first place. So I got into this trade yesterday, and then you can see there by the end of New York session, it was going in. And then in the Asia session today, it was already up around 1 to 1 because my stop loss was somewhere around in here, 20 odd pips. And then I moved the entry to break even this morning around 8 o'clock. And I showed you that in the forum over here. 1 second. So there, the trade was in profit. And just when I clicked the screenshot, I then moved it to break even because I started seeing the other candles coming down. And then basically this huge candle just took me out. And I think that's because of the World Economic Forum, the Trump comments that have been going on. But that would have been a really good trade. And it's literally like this trade. I was going in through the one of the posts in here. I think it was in the entry signal. I was literally telling you how to enter this trade. And when the entry signal came, I took it, and it would have been an example if it was going to be a winner for this course. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, important thing is you can only enter in London or New York. And I was going to show you some more examples on this. Just 1 second. I'm just going to see if through my notes if I'm going to miss anything. No. So yeah, I think I've covered everything. And AUD USD, I've shown you this one. This is the head and shoulder, but it doesn't make sense to take because if you look at this with M2, you can see that although it is a head and shoulder, you have all these AMAs in here in between. So it wouldn't make sense to take the trade, but also without the indicators, if you look at this target here, it's around 45 odd pips. And also you have a strong level of support and resistance in there. So it wouldn't have made sense to take the trade. And Euro New Zealand is one I'm keeping an eye on. So basically, this one did do the breakout yesterday, and now it is in the region. It's done the pullback. It's made a new low. So we are going to be watching now the 4-hour time frame, and I'm going to be waiting for my entry signal. So I think this is going to be quite similar to what Pierre does, because he waits for the price to come in the earth and sky zone, and then he waits for his entry signal, so some kind of bullish or bearish confirmation to the trade. So it's kind of very similar. Now I'm waiting to for the price to reverse in this area of interest, make a so it's come back down there, and then I want it to make a lower high and then lower low, and then I'm going to enter the trade over there, put my stop loss above the area of interest and also above the previous high. So let's just say it's about a 54 pip stop, but the risk reward on this pair is like really huge. Let me put on the EMAs. So, okay, first target is going to be 300 pips, because you have the daily 200 moving average. So this is what I mean. Like, you can look at the trade without any indicators on, and then also get a confirmation using the Marks M2 strategy. So this is what I'm going to be showing you in the course, to give you some extra added confidence. So you can still use these M2 EMAs for you to see if the trade is a good idea, and also use it to see where the price can probably stop. So that could be a 300 pip move. And if I put around, you know, 2 lots on this, 2 5s is 10, that could be quite a big trade for me if I'm risking about a grand on this trade. So it's a 1 to 5 risk reward on this pair. So I'll be watching this one. We have been in a very big uptrend over here, and then price consolidated, made a head and shoulder pattern over there. So this is the daily time frame, and if you go on the weekly, you can see it is quite clear over here. The left head, right shoulder, and we got the breakout on the daily time frame. So that's one out of the way, but now we need a confirmation. So I wouldn't just take the trade here just because it is already in the region. It could even retrace a little further up, make the lower high, and then go down. So then you'll be taking a loss for no reason. So I would just be a bit more patient with it. And the patient comes when you have been watching this kind of trades quite a lot. So that's what I've been doing in the past year. So I'm going to wait for that and wait for the price to reverse. So I can be going on the 4-hour, 2-hour, 1 hour, and 30 minutes to wait for the price to reverse. And as you can see at the moment, the price has not yet turned bearish. So I'm going to wait. We are paid to wait. And this is the beauty of this strategy. You don't have to just dive in straight away. A trade that I would take would be something like this, where I don't have to think about too much. You know, the Euro Aussie, where I've just taken this one because it has done more than the daily average, and you have the EMAs in here, 61.8, 50% fib, and also just above the round number as well. So that's something I would take. But like this one here, like I said, I was going to wait for the confirmation as well over here for this to take, because also it was on the 4-hour, and it was good. I waited for that trade to reverse. Some other trades, USD, CAD. So on this one, let's have a look. So yeah, never got the confirmation there. It's just gone back down. So if it then does, so come back up again, you have a minor area of interest, and then you can wait for the price to come in here, and then you can take the trade. Or if it pulls back even higher, you have these EMAs. Yeah, so it's basically around that same level as well, where I just drew the level. So you can be looking to take the short anywhere around in here. Put your stop loss 40 odd pips. There's nothing in the way here. First target for me would be in here because I have this level here. And as you can see on my charts, you have this level of support and resistance. You can see here previously, price came down tumbling from this same level, bounced off here and went back up. So I would definitely take partial profit over here and then leave the rest to run if I do think if it wants to go further down at 136. So that's the one I'm waiting for on this pair, on dollar CAD, and then Euro USD. Not interested right now on this. Need a pullback because it's made a new high. And then pound New Zealand, I mean, this one just kept going down. I want this to pull back higher. If I've missed it, then that's fine. I won't look to take the trade. And then pound cat is another one. So it's not pulled back quite like how I wanted it. Um, but my area of interest was down in here. And this one is a bit too low for me to take because my area of interest is in here. And if you go through the course, I always bang about it. Take the trade as close as possible to the area of interest because then you're going to have the best risk reward and also a very good entry and a stop loss. So keep that in mind. And the rest of the pairs, I don't really have anything else going on. Euro pound is one that I'm waiting on. So although this went down below, right? So this is what I mean. It would look good for a short because, yeah, it's made new lower low and then it's come back to retest this area of interest here. But then if you look at this with M2, would you really take the short? No, because you have all these EMAs in here, so it doesn't really make sense for me to take the trade as a short. So what am I doing? I'm going to wait for the price to break above this daily 55 over here, make a new high, and then wait for the pullback and then take the trade to the upside on the confirmation. I mean, you could even take a forward order on here because if it makes a new high, then you have a confidence that this is probably going to go to the upside now. But yeah, I'm gonna put some more examples in the course, which you will find over here. So like I said, I'm gonna take a few more days to update this. I've got another video coming up here showing you what I basically showed you right now, how to combine it with M2. Um, Great thing about this is for the ones who don't want to wait too long, who want to focus just for the week, it's great for them because it's focusing in the London and New York session. And, most of my trades, I have held them for 2 to 3 days and then got out of it. So I'm just focusing for that week. I'm not looking for 2, 3 weeks. Where is the trade going to go? Yes, of course, when I'm doing my analysis, I'm going to look at that. But when I'm into the trade, I'm always looking where will I be taking my profit, and I'm just looking for that week. But the trade can be quite big as well. So it could target 100, 150 pips, or as long as it's making 1 to 2, 1 to 3 risk reward. 1 to 2 is my minimum, but I'll bag most of my profit and then close the trade. And the other things is that you know go through the course, and if you want to work privately with me, I still have a few places, and I will be including this course when I'm teaching you M2. So I'll be also teaching you shorter time frames. So if you're interested, then let me know. You can contact me on ashley@forexmentorpro.com, or I will put my diary link in the post later on when I put this blog post up. And I don't think I have anything else. Oh yeah, the last thing I said, you have all these different strategies now. So you have Earth and Sky that has a good run sometimes, and you have M2 that has a good run, and then now you also have this strategy that I've come up with now. So you can use all this knowledge that you have, and then you will have this in your arsenal. So whenever you think you can use this strategy in the markets when something is not working, then you could try this one out and see if that works. Um, I've gone through all the strategies, so I know how to be flexible. So there's no M2 setups for the week, then I will go on Nothing Sky. So PA can save me sometimes over there. And now I've come up with my own strategy. So I have a look at this strategy, and I always have a setup for the week. And if the setup doesn't form, then I just ignore the week and I'll just look at the next week ahead and see if I can take a trade in the week ahead. Because all you need is one or two of these big trades, just like Mark says, because these can pay you your profit for the whole month sometimes. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed that session, and now you have a lot of material to basically go through and do your homework and go through the course. And if you have any questions, you can ask me them before I end this webinar. Sorry, yes. Richard Taylor says, thank you, Ashley. Grant said, thanks a lot, Ashley. Looking forward to getting stuck into this material. Yes, you can go, and it's already live now, so you can go and have a look at it. And like I said, I will be updating it as we go along, because I'm quite busy on my holiday here in India and got a lot of things to do in the background apart from trading as well. So yeah, I'm gonna try and find some time and put all the material out as soon as possible. So if no questions, then we can end the webinar. And I wish you all good luck for the week ahead. And I'll be quite active in the forum. And if you want to contact me, you can contact me in ashley@forexmentorpro.com. And I'll put my diary link as well if you want to have a chat with me about this strategy for a little while, or any other questions about the strategy. Okay, so thank you, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care, and thanks for attending.